Oh man, it's Joey Knows Kicks. Mosh is here, man, a legend in his own right. You've been heavy in the custom game for a long time. I remember when we linked up for the first time was actually in Connecticut at like a show where Wale was performing, and you showed me like a pair of
Yeah,
custom True Blue threes you did for him.
forever
And
ago.
man, how much has changed since then, and how much the brand has taken off. Just a little backstory, man. Just let everybody know, how you got into the game, when the customization started coming in, and leading up to now, where you're actually putting out your own shoes.
Yeah, I mean, as someone that grew up, not poor, but not, obviously not a lot of money. Sneakers was kind of like the thing to make you feel fresh. You might not have the best outfit on, but I'd mow lawns and shovel driveways to get my pair of Jordans for the first day of school. And I always had an appreciation for that. It gave me confidence and things like that. So that was always something throughout my life. Playing sports. I did art. My grandma was an art teacher. I did art all my life. I was supposed to go to art school. I ended up not going. My dad passed away. I went to the local colleges. I lived in New York first, in Poughkeepsie, upstate, and then I was taking art classes, and I took baseball classes because I played baseball in high school. And basically, what baseball class was you would like shag balls and throw BP to the baseball team.
Right.
So I was throwing BP. I'm striking guys out left and right. I'm a left-handed pitcher. Coach was like, after class, you want to stay and keep practicing with the team? I'm like, all right. Long story short, fast forward, I'm all conference, all region pitcher getting offered a contract with Cincinnati Reds.
Oh wow.
Whoever thought, people don't really know that part of it. I didn't get drafted. They just offered me a contract. And I was like, yeah, I was very realistic that I was a big fish in a small pond. I knew that. But I was like, maybe if I transfer to a bigger school, maybe I'll get some looks. Maybe I'll get drafted. Who knows? That's where the money was. Again, someone who didn't come from money, that was more the motivation. My dad passed away. It was just me and my mom. And then I transferred to St. Rose up in Albany. It was Division II school, went to the Division II World Series, and they had a really strong art program. So I took art, and then I was playing baseball, and I'm tearing my rotator cuff in my labrum. And that was kind of like, all right, the little shimmer of hope that I had to play pro ball was already gone. I was very, very realistic in that stuff. So I fell back on the art, finished up, got my degree and stuff. Going back into customizing shoes, very long story short for this. I went back to Poughkeepsie. My brother was like, you got an art degree. I don't know what you're going to find for a job. So if you want to do something, you can work at the school for autism with me. I'll get you a job, whatever. And I had found actually an old complex, someone doing custom shoes. And it was, real basic Air Force Ones artwork and whatever. Right. And again, me always being a competitor, playing sports all my life, I was like, I could do better than that. So I got some old beat up Air Max 90s and some paint that wasn't suitable for painting on leather, that's for sure. And I was just painting them all different shades of purple. And like my inspiration was like Dipset colorways, like things like that. That's what I was going for. And it's funny because I shared this story with Cam a while back. Like it was like 10 years into what I was doing. I was like, we should do like a anniversary pair. And he was all about it, but then he got the Reebok deal and was doing different stuff. And like we still stay in touch here and there. But I should probably go back and try and revisit that.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, so as that happened in Poughkeepsie, I was, learning how to do things, and I was going to the local barbershops and wearing them in the barbershop. And they're like, yo, when did Nike come out with those Air Maxes? And obviously I would say that I did them. And then, fast forward a month later, every barber in the shop's wearing my shoes, promoting my work. I got a custom shoe in the little glass counter next to all the bootlegs with my card in the front. And, that was social media back then. That was before MySpace. That was before all that stuff. It was just word of mouth. And it was just me feeling comfortable with learning how to do things properly. And then feeling comfortable enough to charge money for it. And back then, I was charging like $75 to paint a pair of shoes. I didn't know what I was doing. And then I found the online forums. That was like the ISS forums and Nike Talks, all those that had other people doing what I did. And then it was kind of like a little, I could probably count on two hands how many people were doing it at that time. As opposed to now where there's millions of people doing custom shoes. But we would share little secrets of like how to prep shoes, what kind of paint, where to go to get this. Oh, I learned how to do this. It works and whatever, this doesn't work. This does work. So there was no YouTube on how to properly do this stuff. Right. It was just us trial and error. Like I always joke, and I've said this in many interviews. I could put a kid through junior college and all the money I've wasted destroying sneakers, trying to figure out how things work. So the shoe, the Mache Runner, how it happened. My man Rich is someone that I've known. He's now with Garrick's, and it's a studio in Philadelphia where they do custom shoes and they can do scale stuff and they do projects and whatever. They're very selective with who they work with, which is kind of cool. But it's been the fact that I've had a relationship with the guy for so long. He was like, yeah, whenever you want to do a shoe, let me know. the invitation's been open for about 5 years. And I was like, yeah, whatever. You know, it wasn't comfortable. It wasn't whatever. I'm like, I never saw myself as a designer. I'm an artist. I've always been an artist. Yeah, I would draw pictures of sneakers and put them on my grandma's refrigerator when I was a kid. But that's as far as design went for me. You know, I didn't do industrial design. I didn't do any of that stuff. And I just felt like I was just afraid of it because I didn't think I could do it. So usually, for a lot of these bigger sports events, say it's like All-Star Weekend or I don't know, BET Awards or something like that. Usually I'll have some kind of involvement with a brand or something, like whether it's an installation or doing like a one-off for like the dunk contest or something. I remember All-Star game in Chicago, what was it, like 2 years ago?
Right.
Yeah. It was probably the first year. It's the first year in a while that I hadn't gotten a phone call from a brand to do anything. And I was kind of sitting there and I'm watching the IG stories and I'm like, damn, like I kind of had FOMO about it. And I kind of got frustrated. And I was like, I think it's time to not let the brands dictate my schedule and like where I'm going. And I was like, I think it's time to try and do this on my own. And so I gave Rich the text. I'm like, you know what, it's go time. He's like, bet. I've been waiting for this call for years. So then just came into the brainstorming process. You know, we started with the Vibram soles. For people that aren't familiar with Vibram, they're very big in a bunch of brands. They're used in New Balances. They're used in like anti-slip things. If you go to shoe repair places, they have Vibram like soles for like, you know, hard bottom shoes and boots. Like they have a whole bunch of different stuff. And I knew I wanted to make a runner. I was like, I was 41 at the time, and I was, you know, all big on the comfort. Obviously, we're all on the New Balance wave. But I've always been a New Balance fan.
Same.
But so like, but the runners have always been my thing. Yeah, obviously, I still have all my Jordan 1s and I have all that crap, and which is all great. But I'm very big on the function and then the form. I certainly want it to look good. And I love Wave Runners. I love 992s. I love the chunky shoes, but not the Sketcher looking shoes.
Right.
You know, like burn the Balenciagas, all that stuff. I didn't want to do that, but I wanted to make a high-end runner. You know, and when I envisioned it, I wanted to see my NBA guys, my NFL guys wearing those things in the tunnel. I wanted them to be proudly wearing them, and like, you know, I wanted to look at them as a Dior or something like that. I wanted to be proud of it, and that was the goal. So I wanted to go with the quality materials, which, I mean, I know you got the Badlands in your hand. You see the quality in them.
Yeah, I actually saw somebody out here in Tampa rocking the tie-dye ones. So it's like, I mean, I just love what you're doing with the shoe. When I got them in hand, first and foremost, like I couldn't wait to get them and rock them. And I was just waiting to do this interview before I like undead stock these. But I love the touch you put on the Badlands. Even like down to the like comfort, even the packaging. And that's like one of the things that always catches my eye is like how everything's like pretty much packaged. And I just thought you just put an amazing touch on that, along with the card that comes inside and kind of checking off the shoes. So I really dug that, kind of, and like a nice little ode to how like Jordan used to drop the cards on like which J's you got. Yep. So I think you did an amazing job here, and I've known you for a long time. So I mean, of course, the support is there, and man, it's a comfortable ass shoe, man. I'm just like I feel good like rocking these in the street. I know we were just talking about brand consciousness, like it's just a good looking shoe, like, and with the Badlands brand, it pretty much goes with everything. It's pretty neutral. Yeah, bro, like, and you're killing. I just pre-ordered the Utah one, so I'm waiting on those too. So this is like something I'm my everyday wear. So I mean, you're doing it, bro.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. It's cool because I get the friends that are customers that will wear them out and they get stopped because people are asking like, what are they? Like in a good way, like how can I get those and whatever. And that's been the best part is this growth has been totally organic. Like I'm not out here going crazy, seeing people's shoes and doing that stuff. Because for one, we're still a small guy. I mean, I know when I first did the shoe, I see it out to a couple of my friends that that obviously have some influence, like Action Bronson and Trinidad James and Wale. Like, but those are friends that like those are people that like I would give them to it regardless. But I know that they would be happy for me. Like Diggs got a pair, so like I wasn't going on my way to just go to like every influencer and every big time person to try and get the word out. Because I mean, if they're not rocking with me, then I'm not gonna go and waste my energy. So that's again just me trying to stay as genuine as possible with this whole thing. Is just like either you do or you don't. And I much rather have you guys be down than Mosh Gang, but if not, you'll come around once you see your favorite football player wearing them. Then you'll get it. We'll get Quavo a pair. We'll get Quavo Bear, then
There you go.
people want to do it. So get Offset, and maybe we'll have Travis break his Nike deal. But that's actually not a that's not a competitive brand. I'm not competitive because I see like Odell Beckham wearing Geiger shoes. So I think the designer stuff's okay. But yeah, it's exciting, and then again, this whole story with the travel and the locations, we did the pop-up in Vegas this past weekend. It's a nice little mix of worlds. Me and Westside Gun both had our pop-ups together. It was dope energy.
That's awesome.
Me and Fly Guy had a little convo. We might have a little something in the future. It just kind of makes sense because Wes was someone that, like, I mean, certainly as a fan of his music already, and just how he is with the art and culture and all. They're on culture around a lot, but I'm a big fan of how he is very passionate about art, and he collects art, and it's not just like because it's cool. It's because he's really fucks with it. I don't know if I can curse, but he's really with it. And I remember when I did the rollout for my first shoe, I hit him up and I was like, I'd love to use one of your songs for my rollout. And he was all about it. He was like, I'm honored, flattered, whatever. So he let me do that. So he got his pair of shoes, at the pop-up this weekend, and he loves them. So it's good to get cosigns like that. They're genuine, not just like forced upon, like, hey, you send me some shoes. Like I remember he got them the one day and he wore them the next day. He was already wearing them. So it let me know he really did my shoe. So, and it's, I have my schedule of my rollout for the whole year planned out, and I know what I'm dropping next month and the month after that and after that and after that. So when people are trying to, suggesting things or asking for things, I'm like, just be patient. I know it's coming. You don't. So when I finally got a black shoe, I wanted to figure out a way to make a black shoe that wasn't just like a black Air Force One. I wanted to make something that had some pops to it, but wasn't like totally over the top. Because when you think of neon, you're thinking of a neon shoe, and that's not what I wanted to do. So when I did neon inspired shoe, I was like, all right, let's do like the neon lights, but let's have the black be the contrast against the nighttime sky against it. Right. So it helps it pop more. And then, I include the extra laces to give it more pops, depending how low key you want to be about it. If you want to be crazy, just throwing, regular black laces in and have them be almost murdered out. I want to give options and give that little customization. I could probably just pull the shoe off just to kind of.
Yeah.
So
show that off.
I've been wearing these like crazy. So you kind of see the quilted leather, all that stuff.
I like that.
The original inspiration is I love the Don C2s. I love the Supreme Blazers. I love quilted leather. I love just how it looks aesthetically. But I wanted to tie it into the Vegas shoe. Why I put it on the Vegas shoe was because I wanted to give a little bit of a nod to like those like lounge chairs in the casinos, like those like kind of like old school kind of things that you would sit. It's leather seats. That's what I was going for that, and still make it like very subtle and not over the top. I don't know with the sun if it's going, but like it's all the premium stuff, like the toe caps all suede, the contrast stitch. The original sample, it was actually, we were gonna do real Python on the back.
Wow. Okay.
We were gonna do that, but then we knew that the price point was gonna go even higher than it already is, because $300 is a lot of money for a shoe, no matter if it's handmade or not. Not everyone can afford that, and I'm very, I'm aware of it, but it's one of those things that like I didn't want to skimp on the quality of the shoe, and we had put like a plastic Python looking thing, and it looked really cheap, and I felt like for the price point, I wanted to make sure it was nothing but quality materials, so we ended up going with a Python like debossed leather instead, just to still give that essence of it, but it's still the quality stuff without having to have that luxury cost, because then we'd have to start charging like $500, and I didn't want to do that because I already get enough people saying I charge too much as it is, but it's like $300 for a shoe. You should see what I charge for a custom commission. So,
for real, dead ass.
This is a bargain. This is a bargain to get something for me. But yeah. So, and then the upper on the actual the release version is a white midsole with a black outsole.
Copy.
So we're keeping it like that. So there's a little bit of contrast, and I've done a couple photos of it. And I'm kind of stupid because I didn't take a sample with the white sole, so I've been just wearing my black ones. So like for photos, I'm like, that's why usually I do a big rollout. And I'm wearing my shoes all the time, and I post photos. And I realized I was like, I can't really just be posting these black ones because they're either going to think they're like, well, why are you wearing the black ones? Why aren't or like why aren't you selling the black ones?
Yeah,
we want the black ones. So I know how we think. We all want we want what we can't have. So I was kind of like, all right, we're just gonna. Got some beauty shots. We'll roll with that, and got some video, and I make sure that I was wearing the sample at the time, and I would just say sample version. So I try to be as transparent as possible and kind of not undersell what's coming out, because it's an awesome shoe. The rollout for Vegas was awesome. People showed out, and it was great. But it's always just an energy event to build up for the pre-order. I like people to see people get the shoes in hand, because what happens is every time we do the pre-order, and then the shoes come in, say right now the Badlands came in, everyone's posting their shoes, and I get so many DMs and emails like, "Yo, can you bring those back out? I missed them." No, you can't. So I'm trying to get ahead of that with the pop-up and have people see the shoes, so they're like, okay, it's a dope shoe. You can see its quality. It's one thing to do with stage photos and the kit filter lighting and things like that, but you want to really see that, and the pop-up's the way to do it. So it's been successful. I mean, for a hot second, we got back to normal in the COVID world for a hot second, and it was fun in New Orleans. And now it's still better than it was, but it's still Mass Central now and whatever. So we're still trying to do these little events and do it as safe as possible and still get to interact with the supporters and stuff and have a good time. We got a pop-up plan next month. I won't say where yet. I'm gonna let this rollout happen first. But
okay,
we'll say it is a pair that everyone's been asking for. So we're gonna have a lot of happy people come September. We'll say that.
Now, do you have Tampa on the radar at all?
I don't have Tampa. I should though. But the thing is, like, I've only been to Tampa once, and the only reason why I was there was because when I was looking at schools back in college, I got not recruited, but like I was going to what was it? There was Ringling School of Art and Design in Sarasota. I visited that campus, and I went, and that's near Tampa, so I went there. And that's the only time I've ever been there. So like anytime that I did do a shoe, like it was something that I had a connection to in some way, shape, or form. And it's just more for me. I mean, I think I'll never say never. I mean, we did do the Dry Tortugas. I know that's not close to Tampa, but at least that's in Florida. So yeah. I mean, we started there, and the colorway is pretty dope. It's funny seeing colorways come out now, bigger brands that are similar. I know that there's no, it's a coincidence. I know that. I'm not one of those ones that goes, oh, they copy me. No, I know how shoes work. They had these things planned 3 years in advance. I'm not those. I'm educated. I'm not gonna say they're not out to get me. But it's cool to see how maybe similar colorways can tell two totally different stories. I had this joke with Dion from Concepts. They're releasing their New Balance this weekend, and the colorway is very, very similar to the Utah Runner. I mean, again, very much coincidence because their colorway totally ties into their story and makes sense, and then mine totally tells my story. Yeah. So it's really cool to see how two totally different stories, but the colors are very, very similar. And it's cool to see that creative process, and I think the storytelling is what gets people really invested in these shoes for sure.
Oh yeah, just the storytelling and the originality, because I feel like, respectfully, we see a lot of these, up and coming like novelty kind of brands that are putting these shoes, these sneakers out, kind of emulating certain like silhouettes, like a Jordan 1 or anything like that. So it feels good to see. And then, that's their way of doing their thing, and that's cool. But just seeing the originality and the story behind, each and every shoe that you put out is really dope.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's I take a lot of pride in it. Again, the themes, even when I was doing custom shoes, the theme is always very theme driven. So, of course, when I had a chance to do my own silhouette, I was going to carry that over, whether it's the packaging, whether it's the story. The box and the insoles are always something that's very as important to me as the actual design. I'm not a graphic designer, so usually what I do is I draw out what I want. I'm an old school artist. I just draw and paint. But I got an iPad and I'll sketch out what I want for stuff, and then I have 2 or 3 different graphic designers that I'll tap in to like do things, and I'll kind of rotate them around to see whose style works best for what I got in mind. But we got some packaging that's pretty dope for these next couple of releases. I mean, they've all been really good, but we're trying to raise the bar in terms of what we're doing, because like you said, you look forward to the packaging just as much as the shoe itself.
It's so crazy. It's like I'm scared to touch the shoe and put it on because it's just it looks so perfect. Because I look at sneakers like a wearable art, anyways. So the fact that you having an art background and it shows in the actual shoe. Real quick, I want to ask too, like going back to the customizing game, and you've had so many clients, high profile celebs. You're talking WWE, NFL, NBA. Was there anybody or any customization where that you felt a little bit of pressure doing it for the specific client?
LeBron was big. The Rock was big. More for timetables more than anything. I remember I had to do LeBron's shoe in like a day in the case,
Damn.
and that wasn't my fault. That was Nike's fault because they didn't give me the shoe in time. And I was literally like, the shoe still smelled like paint in the finisher when I got down to Houston. So that was pretty stressful. Not so. I'll be honest. The As time has gone on, I've become a lot desensitized by it. But there's still a couple times where you're kind of bugging out. Like I remember when I finally met Hove, and a couple years ago, I did his shoes for the 444 tour, like all those Pumas with the barcodes. Right. It was kind of like it was an under the radar thing. It wasn't anything that was like we didn't announce anything. It was just me kind of carrying out the job. And that's kind of how we wanted to do it. But when I met Jay, I was like, "Oh, I'm the guy that did your shoes," and he's like, "Oh shit, great to meet you." Whatever. I was kind of shitting my pants because he was one of my top people. And the thing was like, I didn't. You want to straddle that line of being a fan and also being someone that's on their same level, because these people, they're people. They are people. Like a lot of times when I'm talking to a celebrity, my wife's like, she goes, "Don't be annoying." I'm like, they're people. I'm like they're just normal people. I'm talking to them like I talk to a regular dude, because they are. They crave normalcy. A lot of these guys. So, I obviously, I'm not disrespectful, but when I do get into a fan, I'm like, yo, I'm going to be a fan for a hot second and ask for a photo, because this is the only time I'm ever going to see you. And I know that. Like, I remember it was at Nipsey Hussle's Grammy event in LA that year. And so I was doing something with Puma and Nip for that, and Hove was there. And I didn't realize how big of an event it was going to be. Like, I remember Dave Chappelle was there, Snoop was there. Every Rock Nation person you can think of was probably there. I mean, whatever. A lot of planes and stuff. But I remember Jay was there. It was a very laid back vibe. It wasn't like there was fans there, so I knew he was kind of comfortable. So I was like, all right, this is my shot. We got to do this. So I was like, yo, Emery. I was like, I got to meet him, because Emery's obviously his guy. Right. So he brought me over and he introduced me, and then that was it. And then I was jet lagged. I was tired, so I left at like 10 o'clock. Come to find out, like later that night, that's when like Dave Chappelle showed up and all these other people showed up. I'm like, damn, like I missed all this stuff, but. I'm old. I mean, I can't turn up like that anymore.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. But a lot of those events like that. I remember, like me, I was nervous to meet the Undertaker. That was pretty.
Oh wow, man, that's epic.
Not so much because it was. I mean, I was nervous with the Undertaker, but it was because at the time I was delivering shoes to him and Ronda Rousey at MSG, and it was Ronda's first time at MSG, and Undertaker, it was supposed to be his last time at MSG, and I was talking to Undertaker's wife. And she was on vacation with the kids. Taker was still there, and we were trying to get through. And the way security is like there's WB security, then there's like MSG security. The WB people know me, but like the MSG people didn't know me. So like I'm trying to go in like to get into the backstage area, and I don't know if you remember how the MSG's set up. You got like the little sideways to walk in. There's like the parking garage. You got to cross the street. And the thing is, like they don't park underneath the garden. They park in that parking garage and they walk over, all the wrestlers.
Oh yeah, I've heard of the stories about it. It's like, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So like I'm going up and like I'm looking like a fan, but I'm like I'm trying to get one of the wrestlers that I know to dab up and walk in with them, so it's not like weird. But ended up finally getting in there and whatever. But I was like trying to get a hold of his wife there on vacation. I felt bad because I was like harassing her, but she's the only one that knew that I was going there. Like Taker knew I was going to be there because she told him I was coming. But they needed to talk to the wife to let them know that I was okay. And it was just so stressful. But once we finally got to him, it was great and whatever. But
just trying to make sure you don't get Charles Oakley, man.
Yeah, bro. that was exactly. It was the Charles Oakley situation before the Charles Oakley situation.
Right.
But it's crazy because like the wrestlers and all, and they all know me. Like they're like, hey, what's up? And then the security's like, oh, you gotta stay over here. And the wrestlers like, what the fuck? Like that's our guy. And so I remember another time. I was actually in Hartford. We were at SmackDown. And I was sitting in the back with like Roman Reigns and Cena and a couple and like Sheamus and whatever. We're all sitting there watching the show on the TV. And the security guy is like, he goes, hey, what are you doing? Cena's like, no, he's good. He's with us. And I'm like, that's right, John Cena.
That's epic. John Cena.
It was me and Mike Loudon. You know Mike.
Yeah.
So me and Mike are just sitting there. Yeah, like he's usually my photo guy. So when we go there, he takes the photo, and we're like, so now all the wrestlers know him too because I bring him with me all of my stuff. But yeah, so it was just kind of cool that John was like, yeah, don't worry about him. No, he's with us. Yeah, that's right. But
that's epic.
It's wild. Who would have thought?
It's so wild too. I mean, I remember being at Foot Locker one time, and you had like out here in Tampa, and you had like I hit you up about it. I'm like, yo, you got your own little stand out here. It's
Yeah.
that relationship with WWE is serious, dog.
Yeah, it's wild. They actually sent me the banner from Times Square. It's here. It's too big to put anywhere, but it's massive. But yeah, I was like, yo, I need that because it's got my logo and WWE and all these different logos. It's monumental, and the relationship's growing. We're doing stuff with I know the Wally Mania stuff. I'm doing something for WrestleMania next year with them. It's supposed to be this year, but with the way things kind of worked out, it got pushed back just for logistics and stuff. But I got some stuff going on with a couple other brands, just some custom stuff and some design stuff, and then I got my own little gig, and the NFL season is getting into full swing, and teams are reaching out to me.
You're a big Vikings fan too. Are you customized? I know you were doing a lot of stuff for Stephon Diggs, who's now in Buffalo. Are you still doing stuff for other players on the Vikings?
Oh yeah, yep. I mean, Vikings are still my squad, so I mean, I obviously I'll be doing. I actually talked to Justin Jefferson. We're gonna do something with him. Thielen, he's been getting stuff for a couple of years. Irv Smith will do stuff. Rudolph's in New York now, so we're doing stuff in some blue and red. So we got some blue and red for him. Got some blue and red for Diggs. I know I did Antoine Whitfield's cleats last year for Super Bowl.
Oh, that's my dog.
Actually, yeah. We did the one with him and his dad on him. For the before the Super Bowl. And then actually I talked to Tampa this year about doing the My Cause My Cleats, and I think they're going with a local artist, which is fine. But I was like, if I'm doing Tampa, I gotta do Tom's Cleats. I was like, that's my only caveat. I was like, if you're gonna have the goat do the goat's cleats.
Hey, listen, if I can pull some strings, I haven't gotten the time yet, but if I pull some strings, I'll definitely tap you in for real.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's been exciting, and it's cool when it gets to be this time of year because I'm excited. It's very stressful just in terms of turnarounds because you're banging out these high detail cleats every single week. It's not like you get a little rest from it. It's like, all right, Sunday's over. You're already reset. You got to already start planning for the next week. And now like I'm one now that I don't take on as many clients as I would have when I was the Mache 10 years ago. That was thirsty and really hungry, because I understand how long these things take. So like I'm really big on that quality over quantity now. Like my roster is like 10 deep. I tell them, some of these guys, like, yo, I can't do it this week. I was like I can do it, and it's gonna come out looking like not what you're coming to me for. Right. So I make sure that I'll make sure that Diggs is taken care of every week. He's certainly a priority based on relationship and whatever. Jarvis Landry, they're both on Jordan brand now, but we're still working together, which is great. There a bunch of my Vikings, got some Giants, but a bunch of random guys, like not random, but like guys from other teams, still have the relationship with Travis Kelce. He needs something for like My Cause My Cleats. They plug me in. So it's cool. I'm name dropping like crazy. I'm sorry, but
that's cool, bro.
It's just wild. It's crazy. Like again, like I didn't think paying my mom's basement in Poughkeepsie, New York, that I'd be doing this now. And like people would actually want to talk to me like about this. Or it's wild. Like even when I met you the first time, what I mean? It's like how far we've gone. I mean, shit, you were in Connecticut, I was in Connecticut. Now we're doing different things.
So, right, and it's crazy how everything's been taken off for the both of us, and how much of the brand just continues to grow. So this is, it's definitely a nice little testament to everything that when we started off and where we at now. So it's really nice to kind of connect.
We're indeed brands. We're brands for sure.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. You got to make these moves and make these decisions based on how it affects your brand. It's crazy to think like that. And like, oh, you sold out. Like, no, you didn't. Like, I'm just trying to better the situation, and you would do it yourself if you had the opportunity. So, like a lot of those decisions I might have made when I was 19 years old, I'm not making at 42 because I know how it's going to impact. I'm not going to voice my opinion on some things, and it might be a little bit of a, kind of a cowardly thing, but I also do know that my voice is, important in some aspects. Some people could care less what my opinion is on vaccines. Like, they don't care, but you know what I mean? Like, right. but I understand when to talk and when to shut the F up. So I've learned. That's also why
I talk a lot. Yeah, same. Yeah. For real. Real quick, lastly, before I let you go, man, you talked about connecting with Westside Gun, and I know you guys are big WWE guys. Is that something that's going to possibly tie in as far as the influence on the possible collab?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that it's only been a real quick, like, yo, let's do something kind of thing. So I don't want to put anything out there that ain't gonna happen. So we're just gonna keep pointing out that the good energy, and like I said, he fucks with me, I fuck with him. So if it's meant to happen, it's going to. But I'm excited because again, like all of Griselda, I'm fans of all of them. I mean, I know everyone's shoe size, so we're good on that. I talked to Benny plenty enough. Doing enough work with Diggs in Buffalo. I'm tied in. My mom's a Bills fan, so she was ecstatic when he went to Buffalo, and it's it'll be dope. If it does happen, and just seeing what he does between what he can offer and what I can offer, it'll be fire. I'm not worried about that.
That's cool.
I'm excited for the album. The
album
comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was actually finishing it on Friday last week before he came to Vegas. He's like, the album's done. All right, good. I didn't even bother him. So he told me as soon as I saw it. So
that's lit. Now, you said you got the pop up. You had the pop up in Vegas. So now you're doing the pre-orders for the shoe this weekend.
Friday.
All right, Friday tomorrow.
Morning.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Keep it open for the weekend. Close it up 11 a.m. Eastern time on Monday. So you get 72 hours to get in there. I always say, like, just try and get in there and get it done with, because a lot of times you forget. And I hate, like, I'll send out the blast emails to the people that are already following, and I'll put my IG stories, but you can't rely on the algorithm to let people see that stuff. It's kind of like, so I mean, and I'm not usually one to complain about that stuff, but it's like so many people don't. Some people don't know I have a shoe yet, and I've had a shoe for a year. People still don't know, so it's kind of wild to see, But when you rely so heavy on that part of it, it's like, what can you do unless you're paying up?
I feel like your shoe is like the only shoe like that is on stock X. You know what I mean? As far as like creators and like yourself, independent guys.
Stuff.
So I've seen that. Yeah. So how does that make you feel? Like you see people like reselling and your shoe having that type of value?
It's a sense of pride and a sense of frustration, because it's like, yeah, that's dope that my shoe's coveted and whatever. But I was like, like you guys could have just bought it. Like, if you just had a little bit of patience, you could have waited. You would have been good. You wouldn't have had to shell out, resale price. But it's also, again, like, I mean, I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't cool to see it. I'd be lying. So it's a good pat in the back. I think the reason why the gouaches aren't on there is because since every shoe is different, you can't put a photo up because you're not knowing what you get. Just like you don't know, what you're getting with those off-white dunks, which I'm still waiting for. But I actually hit. I don't know what I got, but
I ain't getting no hits, man. I've been catching L's on sneakers for a minute, so
I usually do. It just happened to be I went on at 12 one time and it popped up, and I was like, oh, okay, all right. So I got excited. So we'll see what's up. Lighting's kind of crazy right now in here, but
I know it's beaming on you right now. The sun's shining on you, man. You shining. That's why.
The Lord is giving me all His grace for tomorrow.
That's lit, bro.
You're gonna sell 10,000 shoes.
Hey, very, very possible, man. Keep doing your thing, Mache. I really appreciate you taking the time, man. We got connected. You gotta come visit Tampa. We gotta hit a Bucks game, Lightning game, what have you, bro. Let me know.
Definitely. Now we'll get down there. Like I said, I like traveling, so I haven't been to Florida in a bit. So actually, we're going to Disney World, and when are we going? Like, I don't know, October, I think we're going. I don't know. She planned it so long ago, but we'll see.
Bet, man. Definitely got to connect. I'm gonna send you my number too, so that way whenever you in Florida or Orlando, Tampa area, we'll definitely tap in.
Bet.
All right,
I'm excited.
man. I appreciate you.